brief introduction. First of all, thank you so much for expressing your interest in our webinar on position management with SuccessFactors. Just a brief introduction of who we are and what we do. So our company, Terra Information Group, was established in 1997 by a group of platinum-level SAP consultants. And now, after the acquisition of SAP and SuccessFactors, TIG was one of the first few companies to build that partnership with SAP. We are also integration experts. We have, as I just mentioned, we were the first partners with in the United States with SuccessFactors certification. We are also a reseller for the product, and we have a number of rapid deployment solutions that we offer for SuccessFactors solutions. So if you're looking to implement an entire project or just a piece of it, or seeking advice, or even like support for a few issues, we are extremely flexible and have different models of engagement that we offer. We not only sell and implement SuccessFactors, but we use SuccessFactors internally as well. And we have excellent references that we can provide. We have worked with more than 100+ clients so far and implemented for them. Okay. TIG's differentiators, we not only offer SuccessFactors implementation services, but along with that, our focus is on providing our clients with HR best business practices. We have global experience. We have worked in more than 125 countries so far. Along with all of our services, we also provide change management services along with implementation or upgrades or any changes that occur in your organization. We have a number of training options that we offer. These training options can be on-site, off-site, or a combination of the two. Again, the other piece of services that we provide is in terms of migrations. If we are looking to migrate data from an old system to SuccessFactors, we have a team that is dedicated to just migrations. And again, in terms of implementations, we have very flexible payment schedules, fixed price, fixed milestone payments. Also, if you're looking for support, we have different kind of very flexible packages. You can buy a support package, pay as you go, or a fixed number of hours. Or even if you're looking for, to resolve just one issue, we have a package which is called resolution by issue. Okay. I'm going to now hand it over to Andre, who's going to be our speaker for today.
Okay.
Andre, I would like you to introduce yourself and give a brief introduction about yourself and the experience you have, and then start on with the agenda.
Okay, sounds great. I hope you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, so just a second. I want to make sure that, can you see my screen? It's the similar presentation screen. Am I sharing? Yes, I think so.
Yes.
So let me see. I can. You should see SuccessFactors screen now, correct?
Yes, we do.
Okay, very good. So my name is Andrei Polakov, and I'm a consultant with Terra Information Group. I've been working with SAP HR, mostly employee and manager self-service, and SAP portal for probably close to 15 years, and maybe less, but the last 5 years I've been working with SuccessFactors, with primary focus on Employee Central. I've completed several implementations for large companies, global, and for small companies with 100 or 1,000 employees. So I've seen various implementations, big and small. So today I'm going to talk about position management, and I'll mostly how it applies to Employee Central, but also touch on several other modules. So this is the agenda. This is what I will cover. So I'll give you an overview of what position management is, what it's good for, and what is the advantages, why people use it. We'll look at the org charts that you're familiar with, and see how position org chart is different, and how they both live together. We'll look at the manager roll-up scenario. This is just one of the typical scenarios, and it's quite useful demonstration of how position management works. We'll talk about how to create new positions, and what the position attributes are, what they mean, and how they are useful. Like you can use position types, you can set position as vacant or set number of TEs on the position. So we'll talk about that. You may be familiar with job relationships, like you can set up a matrix manager or second manager or HR representative. There is similar concept exists on the position level, that's matrix relationships. We'll briefly touch on right to return, and I will go through key position management settings so you can get a sense of what you can configure to meet needs of your organization, because the position management can be used in so many different ways. And then I'll talk about few tools that are available to do mass update for positions. Say you want to use position management, how do you load 1,000 or 10,000 positions? How do you create it? How do you get it going? How do you make it updates to them? So that's the topics we're going to cover. So first of all, position management is optional. And obviously, if you're here, you may or may not have it, or you may just implement it and want to learn about more. But it's optional. You turn it on, do a couple of configurational settings, and then you get it going. So it could be add-on project to your existing. Say if you're on Employee Central right now and you're not using position management, you can add it later. It doesn't have to be done right away. So I worked on some project where we added position management after the fact. And even if you enable position management, you can say, I'm not going to use it for my whole population. I can only use for I don't know, managers and executives, or up to a certain level. Or you can say, I'm going to use mass positions for people with high turnover. I just need to make sure I do it efficient. That's another options. But typically, what I've seen, if you enable positions, you enable them for all your employees, but flexibility is there. And then that's maybe new for some, but you can have more than one person in one position. That's not how SAP works, and obviously if you integrate it with SAP or going from SAP to SuccessFactors, you would have one person per position, which is again normal, but the system is flexible to allow multiple people in one position. So that's possible too. Why implement position management? So you can consider positions as like a templates, or some people refer as a chair. So that's something that someone occupies. When they leave, the chair is still there, right? But it's more than a chair, because that's why I prefer to use it as a template, because what it helps you is to auto-populate fields and employee record when hiring or transferring persons. Say, if you don't have position management, say you hire a person, you have to specify the org unit, the company, the cost center, department, manager, what's job. So you have to manually put it in. But if you have position, you're hiring someone into that position, and position already has these attributes, and you just say use this position for new hire or transfer person into a new position in a different department, and all fields auto-populate. So all you need to do is put maybe a new salary if there is any, or a few other things, maybe different schedule, or but most of the information will come from the position, and you decide what comes and what's not. And the other important part that's managerial up scenario follows this is that if person leaves the organization, position stays intact. And you can fill this position with someone else, and then that person will inherit again all the same attributes, and even security. So the position, you can base security on the position, and then or relationship, and then if someone leaves, a new person comes in, they automatically get the same access and same authority within the new position. And obviously, if position is required, then you cannot hire someone just to organization. You have to select a position, and this is how you can control your hiring process, and so you can approve positions and set up a process that it goes maybe to someone who owns a cost center, or someone else who needs to approve it from a budgeting perspective, and then you say I need to have these positions available, and then once position is approved, then you can either recruit someone or transfer that a person into this position from another part of your organization. And there are flexible options on for headcount management. You can think of so if you want to keep it strict, or you don't necessarily kind of like you want to just keep positions for the convenience purposes, again, use them just template, but not necessarily implement strict control. So there's a couple of options there. On the integration side, so again, position management is mostly for Employee Central, but it works really well with other modules. Say, if you have SuccessFactors recruitment module, then whenever you create a new position, you can just right-click, and I'll show you where and how. So you can create a requisition right away. So in all data from a position, like for example, location, description, anything else that you have, it can come straight across to recruitment. And when a person has been like accepted the offer, so you can integrate back and bring information from the candidate or new hire from recruitment module into Employee Central, and the hiring is almost like rehiring. So you click and everything is pre-populated. You just need to, whatever was on requisition or some personal data. That integration also works for onboarding. So if you have recruiting and onboarding, so it will also work the same way. Succession management is another very popular module with SuccessFactors, and they used to have their own positions for succession management, but now it's all integrated. So the positions that I create in Employee Central can be used for succession management too. You can add more attributes than normal if like that are meaningful for succession management, and people who do succession management have access to additional fields than and people who just are like managers, HR, working with hiring and transfers, they not necessarily need to have access to that succession data, like all the risk of losing and whatever, how valuable, whatever. So you put it for succession management, that all is integrated. SAP Field Glass, I don't know if you heard of it or not, but this is a contractor vendor management system. So it's a similar for recruitment, to recruitment, like logically, but this is for bringing contingent workers. And if you ever consider implementing it, it also works well with position management. And just like you can create requisitions and job postings directly off position in Fieldglass, and then if you bring in back contingent worker to Employee Central, it will work same way as with recruiting, so with the data pre-filled, and it's quick and easy. So enough with slides, and let's go and see how it looks and how it works. So what you're looking at is the regular org chart. So you get this org chart with the SuccessFactors no matter what. So with any module, it's part of the BizX platform, whether you have succession, compensation, Employee Central, any module, you get this. But once you enable position management, you have another link called Position Org Chart. And take a look. So this is a manager with 3 direct reports. Now I go and a position management, Position Org Chart. And let's see how that looks. So it looks very similar. So here's Anne and her 3 direct reports. But now we're looking at their positions. So positions of 3 people are reporting to Anne's position. And what we also see is vacant position. So this position doesn't have a holder or incumbent. We can see that it has 0 FTEs out of 1 assigned. So, you know, this is just a position for 1 person. And this plus indicates that this position is vacant and open for hiring, ready to hire or transfer. You can start a hire process right from here, or there is a link, add new employee as well. So there are several options for viewing or position org chart. You can turn on and show matrix positions. This is kind of like dotted line. positions that are you're probably familiar again with matrix with job relationships. We can have, let's say, matrix manager or functional manager, so that all can be done on the position level as well, whether you want to show active or inactive position as well, so that those options are available. So that position is available and for hiring, as I mentioned. So while we're looking at this picture, so maybe we can, I'll just talk about the manager roll-up. So say if we didn't have position management and we were here and we want Anne decides to leave the organization. So she's terminated or resigned, and these people were reporting to her. So they had her user ID and the job information. So then when you separate Anne, the system will ask who do you want it to report, so you can find a person to report to. It could be N+2 or some other. You can spread people, say this person is going to report to here and there. But what's next? Let's say you found a replacement for N, and then you have to manually go and reassign people. And what if there are 50 people, right? So with position management, it's very straightforward. So say Anne leaves and her position is vacant now, but the position structure stays the same. All these 4 positions still report to her empty position, but they all become so it just display changed a little bit. So this is those 3 people and a vacant position, and this is Anne, and this is their N+2 or Anne's manager, right? So when Anne leaves, position structure stays the same, and all employees who used to report to Anne automatically report to Mark. But then when a new person is hired into Anne's position, everybody goes back reporting to the new position, a new person. So you don't have to do anything. And again, if it's 30 or 50 people, it's much easier that way, and you can clearly see, okay, we have an opening and this manager position is vacant. Someone's going to be coming in. So let's look at the positions themselves. So let's say we are in, so let me go back. I just want to collapse this. Nope. So anyway, so let's look at the position. What options do we have? So let's maybe click it here. Okay. So first of all, this is the quick link to create job requisition in recruiting, and this is create a field glass requisition for contractors. So right there. You can see position summary, details like history, incumbent details. So if position was occupied by, say, 5 people in the past, you'll see the whole history. You can get some details, and if it was something changed. So you get a lot of information just in this friendly manner. I'll show you how to make changes and what those attributes mean. But now I'll just quickly talk about creating positions. So creating positions is very similar, very simple. So say you work, you look at you already have a, say, sales position or recruiting manager position, like in this case, or talent. What you can do is say, create a copy, add a peer position. And when you say add peer, it will create an identical one copy of the existing position. and then you can change the attributes. You can put a different title. You can say it's the same position, but person maybe working in a different location, so you can adjust, but it's quick and easy. At lower level position is when, say, a person didn't have any direct reports before, and you say, I want to have someone to report to this position, and then you can say it will add a child position or position reporting to the one that you're looking at. Copy position is very interesting function. It's sort of like a peer copy, but you can specify how many copies. So let's say you're hiring 15 interns, right? Somewhere, you can just say, create me 15 copies just like that. And you will get 15 identical positions with all information pre-filled. You can go and change later, but that's a quick and easy way to manage positions. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the position details. So what do we see? So I may not be going in the order, but this is position attributes. So there is a way to edit and manage, but we'll look at it just in a view mode. To me, the most important part is the organizational data. So this is where you say this position belongs to this particular company code or legal entity. And then depending on how how your organization is structured, whether you use business units, divisions, departments, org units, cost centers, locations. So this is all specific to you, right? So how your org structures, organizational structure is defined, that's what you would put in position. Very customizable, just so it's not like one way. And basically you define where this position belongs. And then when you hire someone, you select this position, all this information automatically becomes the attribute on the job information for the person. Apart from the organizational data, job information is another. Where is the job code? Okay, so there's a job title. Okay, here's job code. It's actually in bold. So typically, position is sort of like an instance of the job code. So job code is something more general that applies, say, management and planning, like anyone in. So you may have some attributes on the job that when you create a position, the attributes will get copied from the job to position. It could be job family, or it could be grade, it could be a level, grade level. So it's all depends on how you want it to set up, but you can have even fields on the position when you create one populate from the job if you maintain attributes there. So, and then it all comes here. So the title, position title could be the same as job title, but you can override it. And so if job title was director, and maybe you can say it's director not of talent management, you may rename it, or say director of talent management in a particular location. So what else do we see here? So we have a parent position. That's the position that this position reports to, and it's like an attribute. You can change it. So let's say you're going through reorganization and say this 20 people are no longer going to be reporting to this person. They're going to be reporting to another person. So you can use mass upload or one by one and change parent position on those positions, and all those people are automatically transferred to a new manager. So their job information will get updated, and they'll get a new manager just because you changed parent position. And the org chart, the regular reporting org chart will also get restructured based on the parent position. So the other attributes like employee class, pay grade, job level, temporary, regular, those are optional. You can choose your own fields, like if it could be like if you come in from SAP world, you can put personal area and sub area here, or you could be standard weekly hours could be on the position. It's your choice what you want to kind of like stay with the position and then be replicated to the user. A couple of things to mention about the position type, FTE, and mass position. So this is all related. So position type is optional. So you can have just regular position for everybody, hide the field, and kind of like don't worry about it. But you may say, I may have some positions that are normal, like regular, and some are shared. So and you can have different rules for different types of positions. Say regular positions will have one FTE. I cannot have more than one person. For shared positions, or you can create custom types and have something else. Use it. Like for one of my clients, we used temporary positions, like say when they're doing overlap and transfer at the same time, and you cannot have two people in the same position, they'll move them to temporary. So there are multiple ways you can set it up, but that's just to tell you that you can have different position types that have different properties, like what you can do with them and how they behave, whether matrix relationships are synchronized, whether the manager is synchronized, whether how many people they can hold, and so on. So that's pretty much all I have for the attributes here. So now we can go back and look at maybe I can pause before I go to the next section. I want to talk about the position management settings, like kind of like configurational choices that you have about positions. So if anyone has any questions, I can answer them now. Maybe we can spend maybe like 5 minutes before I move on to the next section. Or we can keep it till the end. So let's, okay.
Andre, I think Teresa Sawyer, do you have a question? I've unmuted you.
No, I do not.
Okay.
Okay, so let me continue then with more of position management. So let me go to, I'll show you the administrative side. If I go back to my admin center, there is when you enable position management, you get a new tool that's called position management settings. So this is kind of like your configuration, how your position management works. There is a separate place where you configure position management org chart, but I think I missed a few things. Let me go back. I promised to talk about matrix positions in rate of return, but it's let me go back to the org chart, because that's important concept. Let me go back, and then we'll return to position management settings. So let's open one of the positions, and again where we were. So I'll click edit, and positions are effective dated, so you can make a change in the future, in the past, and all history is maintained. and position is the MDF object or generic object if someone is familiar, and you can use the custom UI user interface to put labels, rearrange field, make them bold, so you have some freedom on how the position details look like. And here's the matrix relationships. This is actually a very helpful and useful feature. So you can define what are those matrix relationships. So you can have additional manager, custom manager, HR manager, matrix manager, second manager, and those are just examples, right? So you can call them whatever you want. You can call it functional manager, you can call it HR representative, you can call it HR business partner. But the main point is that just like high-level positions are tied together through position management, the matrix positions are also tied through a different type of relationship, not direct relationship, but the relationship that you define. And then these relationships say you maintain matrix relationship, matrix manager or functional manager, and then you say functional manager or matrix manager is a particular position. So, and that then this information will replicate to synchronize with the job relationships, and then it will also get copied into employee profile, like the basic user file, where it can be used in other modules, like say in performance management. You may say my function matrix managers have access to, can review goals, or they can perform some other actions. Role-based permissions are based on this type of relationships. So you can define, say, matrix manager can have access to the same people as the regular manager, but they can only view, or they can access their job information, but not compensation information. They cannot see their personal details. So you can have, so what matrix relationships allow you to do is it's to have additional type of relationship to the same employee apart from a direct manager, and it's your design, your requirements, how you do this. So again, it could be HR related, it could be management related relationship. So why would you maintain it on the position, not just on job info? Again, to keep the structure in place. So say you have someone who was a matrix manager for this person. And you create it, you say if I add a position of a new matrix manager, as soon as I click save, there will be a record in the job relationship with the same matrix manager as a person, because it will know who occupies that position. So now this matrix manager leaves the organization, gets transferred out, or resigns. So as soon as this position, matrix manager position, becomes vacant, the job relationship is removed. So there is no more matrix manager. But as soon as you hire someone into matrix manager position, this person automatically gets a new matrix of functional manager. So again, very easy maintenance, and then the new person will, like new matrix manager, will automatically get the same security access to his matrix reports. So that's very useful. The other thing with matrix relationship is that you can use them in workflows. So say, for example, if HR needs to, like some HR manager needs to approve promotion, you can say this workflow step 1 is maybe someone from compensation reviews, and the step 2 could be you say a HR manager based on matrix relationships. And again, you don't specify a particular person, but you just specify a relationship, and then whoever has this position will be an approver. So again, you create with position management, you create in a framework that's kind of like more sustainable, and you don't have to go, okay, we have a new HR manager in this department, and then you have to go change it everywhere. So you change, they just take this new position, and everywhere else it's all taken care of. Right to return. It's an optional feature, just like matrix positions are optional. So a lot of things are optional. So if you kind of like here say, it doesn't apply, so you just don't enable it and say don't synchronize. It's not required. With right to return, if you have a time off enabled, like for leave of absences, for example, or you have global assignments turned on, this is where a person can have a second assignment, and the home assignment becomes kind of like a dormant, and they work somewhere else. It doesn't have to be global. It just you create a second employment record. But they kind of like leave their just like with leave of absence, so they're not active in their current position. So you can set up right to return, so these positions will be saved for a person when they come back, so no one will take it. So that's what right to return is. And now let me go back to the position management settings. So exit, okay, and I can just type position management settings. Okay, so this is general configuration, is where you can say, do you want to use position types or not? And we saw that this was enabled. Position numbers, so you can manually put them in or have some code with text or whatever. You can have your own numbering convention, but most companies decide just to have them auto-generated, and you can create sort of like a number range and say it starts with 1 or 8, it's 8-digit, and or there is some prefix. You can figure out and have that like whatever you want, and have the code incrementally increase. Even it may contain some prefixes as well if needed. And then this to be hired status. So you can this is why it's important, because position has to be specifically marked to be hired for it to be available during hire process and transfer. So you can say, you can have a vacant position, but you may say, yes, it's vacant, but we're not hiring to this position, so don't use it. And you can uncheck to be hired manually, and it won't come up on the list. And this is just how it's controlled. You can say you can base it on FTE or always or never. So basically, if say you had a position with a person in it, and say that person got transferred out from this position, or they resigned, position is vacant now. So do you want it automatically become available for hiring? Or you want it to stay not to be hired status, so like not available. So that's kind of like the decisions you can make. And then obviously the FTE comes up as because you may say this position has 3 FTE, like in case of my positions, say, and if there were 3 people in it, 1 left, I have 2 in it, 1 vacant. So make it automatic. Again, your choice. Hierarchy adaptation. This is actually a very important concept. You have to say which hierarchy is leading, reporting or position. There is option for none, but that doesn't work well. So you saw the two org charts, right? The org chart that people to people, and the position org chart, position to position reporting. So most people who select go with position management say position hierarchy is leading. So, and that's like all the scenarios that I gave you with how manager, you just select the position and manager pre-filled, like that's going to be your manager and everything else. So that's when position hierarchy is leading. You can reverse that and say, I actually don't care how many positions I have, and I just want to use it for convenience, and I want to say this person's going to report to Mary, right? And then whatever Mary position has, that position will become a parent position of the new hire. So you can reverse it. But I have not seen. I mean, this is available, but I frankly haven't seen this implemented anywhere. But it may be your case. So that's enough for this tab. Synchronization. So that's the part where information from position attributes gets synchronized to job information, or in the opposite direction. So obviously you cannot have it go for the same field both ways, but you have to choose what goes where. So the idea is that, let's say you hired a person into a position, and they have a particular job code and org unit and department, division, location, whatever, right? And then say you have some reorg. And say we're closing this location, everybody moves to another location. Or you have cost center restructuring, right? How do you do this for all people involved? And because this information is also on the position. So what you can do is you can load the file with 100 positions with the updated cost center, for example, and then you can have a rule that makes like create a business rule that are copies attributes from say job information cost center will be equal to job information from position cost center. So this is just more technical. You may not be familiar with the business rules, but it's your choice. As you see, there are different fields listed here. You can say what gets synchronized. When I make a change in the position, it will automatically go and create a new record with the same effective date in job information with event reason that you defined when you make a change on the position. You can also do the opposite. You can say, for example, once I hired or transferred person in, I don't want to go back to position to change the title. Maybe person gets a promotion, they stay in the same positions, but we'll call them, I don't know, senior engineer or engineer 2, right? But the job code doesn't change. So do I need to go to position and change the title there, even though it came from the position? You say, no, I can do it straight and job info. I say to find an employee, take action, select effective date, and just change the title to senior engineer. And once you click, like once it's all approved, you can have that new title be synchronized back to position that this person holds. So that's your like scenario. For UI customizing, you can have there are some options, like for example company filter. So I'm not going to talk about all of them, but for example, when you for example hire, let's say you transfer, right, someone, and you maintain, say, 5 legal entities, and you can have a drop down with the companies, and then you choose the company first, and then list of the positions. You can click on a drop down to see a list of positions. There will be specifically for that company, all vacant position in that company. So that you can do that. Or if you say no, then you can do reverse. If you kind of like you have tons of positions and maybe multiple company codes, you can say, I always know position number. HR will tell manager what position to use. It position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they'll just go and put position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the company code will be determined automatically based on what's on the position. So that's just one example. This is right to return configuration. There is some transition period for that's if you using position types, it's important. But integration, that's for recruiting management. So again, there are some settings. I'm not going to go into details. And then you can also say, if you import files, whether it's a position files or job info files, whether rules have to be triggered and synchronization should occur or not. So that's all I have. I leave time for questions. I didn't cover mass updates, but I mentioned that you can do it easily with files, just like anything else. It's just an MDF object. You can load positions, you can load job, and it's all easy. And we have this option. So I can answer your questions now.
Okay, question 1 is, what if you don't have any positions in the organization? How do you create the position in that situation?
Okay, that's a very good question. Actually, that's fairly straightforward. So what you would do is you would say, okay, I want to create positions based on what my my employees currently have in their job information. So you would export current job information on all your employees. You can go to ad hoc report, create a report, right? Then you define what attributes you're going to maintain on your position object, and then you simply work in
Mute.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Okay, good. So that's how you would do it. So you can create say you have 1,000 employees, you can create 1,000 positions by file upload, and you know who people report to, right? And like who's the manager is, and then you can assign people like in and reporting like high level position, whatever your position you assign to manager. So it's all can be planned, and this is not that particularly difficult.
How do we engage with Terra Information Group?
So, Andre, I can take that question. Now, to engage with Terra Information Group to implement our implement position management, you can contact our sales. You can contact me. I'm going to display my screen and show you. 1 second. and I'm going to display my screen with my contact info. So Andre, you will have to make me the presenter.
Okay.
Mala, that's Mala.
Okay, let me see. Okay.
So that's my contact information, Mamta Agarwal, and my number is 630-667-4478. You could also contact Amber Stewart. She's from our sales and marketing department. We will also be doing follow-ups with each one of you who had questions, and if you would like to schedule a one-on-one session with us, we'll be happy to do so.
And this presentation will be sent out to everybody, so you'll have the numbers there, yes. So you don't have to like write it down.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to go to the next set of questions. Let me see. So we have a number of questions and we have only 1 minute remaining. Maybe we can cover one more question. I have a question from Jim Davis. Are position attributes inherited from higher level positions, for example, HR manager?
Yes. So when you create a position under, right? You should remember we saw create peer position, create position under. So you build the rule that just like for synchronization between job info and position, you can build the rule saying what to copy. You can copy every single field, or you can say I'm going to copy only 80% what's important. But yes, so whether it's a create in peer position or position under, the attributes will be copied, and or you may not copy. So it's again your choice.
Okay. Our next question is from Chris Thomas. He says, can you briefly touch on the integration options there are for synchronizing SAP and SuccessFactors position management? Does that include SF role management?
Role management. No, role management is, I mean, role-based permission, I would assume, or some roles in SAP, no. That's not included, but the synchronization of position is included. So relationships between positions, like manager relationships, it's all synchronized. There are standard tools for replication, and you can monitor the progress, and all relationships are created. So SAP supports side-by-side implementations, and this is all worked out.
Okay. Our next question is from Sultan Syed. He's asking for the recording. Fawad Khan, we don't want the user to click no on the prompt. I think Fawad is not on the call. He's left the call, but we can follow up with him later. I think we have a number of other questions. So, since we are out of time, we will call you and maybe schedule some separate times to answer your questions. You can also email us. Thank you so much for attending our webinar. And we look forward to having you join on our future webinars. Thank you.
Thank you for attending. Bye.